This is going to be a pretty short video looking at the events leading up to Caesar's assassination, which will give us an insight into the reasons why he was killed. There's a sort of long, well not longish, sort of medium-sized section of Plutarch and a short section of Appian as well. So you can see from my highlighting, this bit of Plutarch is packed with stuff. So we're going to sort of have a read through and figure out the reasons why people became very unhappy with Caesar. So obviously the previous video looked at some of his behaviour in terms of giving out food and gifts and wine and all the rest of it, and that obviously had made the people really happy. So the Romans gave way before his good fortune, accepted the bit. So they kind of accepted their lots because things were pretty happy. And part of the reason why they accept this is because they believe that the rule of one may, I think it's supposed to say, hang on, there we go, the rule of one may would give them, hang on, it's a weird type in that sentence, doesn't matter. They thought a respite from the miseries of the civil war. So they thought basically if there's one person in control, then obviously life would be better, that there would be no more civil wars, because there had been two in obviously in living memory, talking about Sulla and Marius, then obviously Pompey and Caesar. So as a result of this, they appointed him dictator for life. Now this is the Senate who appoints him this particular position, and according to Plutarch, and he's right in this meant an undisguised tyranny. His power is now not only absolute but perpetual. So there's like no end in sight of Caesar's power. Now be aware that it is the Senate who is giving him all these titles and honours. It is not Caesar himself giving himself these titles and honours. So Cicero, our friend Cicero, made the first proposal in the Senate for conferring honours on him, and they were great. And others, in a kind of spirit of competition amongst themselves, proposed the next extravagant additions, and we'll look at the different titles and honours that he's given in lesson. And as a result of all these titles and honours being given to him, they made Caesar unpopular and hateful, because basically everyone thought it was a little bit over the top about about the honours and titles he was being given, understandably so. His enemies were thought to have joined with his flatterers in getting these measures passed. So is there an aspect, a part of the Senate doing it deliberately in order to make Caesar unpopular? According to Plutarch, there definitely seems to be evidence of that. So they wanted to have every possible pretext that acts against him and to appear to have good reasons on their side. So they're looking for justification. So that's why he thinks there's so many honours being given to him time and time and time again. Now, after the Civil War, a temple of clemency was dedicated as a thank offering for his humane conduct after his victory, because he had not only pardoned many of those who had fought against him, but gave to some of them honours and offices besides. So two key people are Brutus and Cassius. These two will be the instigators of the plot against him. So he is, being seen as being really clement is that even a word? Being really forgiving and showing clemency, is better, to the people. So that would not have made him unpopular. However, if you are pardoning those who had fought against you, because they fought against you because they didn't like you in the Civil War, and then you're getting lots of titles and honours, is this a mistake? Should Caesar have actually pardoned these people? Because he then had technically his enemies within the Senate. So just a thought for you there. He also showed sort of honour towards Pompey's reputation, image. So statues had been thrown down during the Civil War, and Caesar had them put back up again. Right, cool, fine. Caesar's friends advised him to have a bodyguard, but he refused because he didn't want to look as if he needed one. To be honest. And he also thought to surround himself with people's goodwill was the best and surest security. So essentially, he thinks that if he has the people on side, the plebs on side, nobody would touch him. So he again sought the favour of the people by giving them feasts and allowances of grain, and gratified his soldiers by founding new colonies. So he's keeping the plebs happy, so therefore he thinks he's protected. But he's got enemies within the Senate, and they're loading him up with lots and lots of titles. Okay. He also tried to keep the Senate happy as well by promising praetorships and consulships in the future to some of them, and by winning over others with various honours and offices and honours. However, this isn't very democratic, is it? If you think about it, if he's giving out praetorships and consulships, then where's the democracy element on it? Remember, under his reforms, he was putting forward half of the magistrates. So this would have obviously annoyed quite a lot of people. He believed that the Republic had ended, one, because he was dictator, but also because he was handing out the different offices. And there's a really rubbish little anecdote in here about Cicero making some kind of quip about someone losing an office really quick. I haven't bothered with it because it's not particularly interesting. Okay, fine. This next bit seems to be the spark of why they decided to kill him when they did kill him. So his successors, instead of encouraging him to sort of rest, because it's Caesar, I got distracted by a sausage dog outside, he wants to kind of continue with that success. So according to Plutarch, it served to kindle in him fresh confidence for the future. So filling his mind with projects, greater actions, and a passion for new glory. This wasn't enough, he needed more. So he made some plans. He made his plans for preparations for expedition against the Parthians. Remember, this is where Crassus had died. So part of it was to gain back what's called the standards. So those are like the banner and the eagle of Rome that the legions would take with them to fight. And obviously, if you lose them in battle, it's loss of honour. So he wants to recover basically Crassus's honour, but also regain the standards. And after he'd done that, he proposed to march around the Black Sea and then invade Scythia. And then he would also go to Germany, then to Italy via Gaul. So he basically did like a big loop of the empire, conquering places as he went. Now, this would have taken him a really long time, and they predicted to take at least 5 years. And there was definitely some concern that if they didn't do something about him now, he was going to leave Rome for another 5 years, and it'd be a 5-year delay before they could do anything about it. So this is seen as a short-term trigger of why they decided to take the action when they took it. He had other plans, so he was going to dig a canal, he was going to divert the Tiber in order to make trade easier, and then he would also the drained land for this diversion of the Tiber, etc., would create lots of new farmland, and then that would be cultivated to improve crops, etc. So some really good stuff he had planned for the future. So, like I said, this kind of talks you through kind of the trigger point. We then have another couple of trigger points mentioned in Appian. So some were proposing to call him king. And remember, Romans do not like kings. He heard of this and he sort of said, no way, I'm not going to be king because everybody hates kings. I'm not a king, I'm just dictator for life. He then made the mistake, he could argue, of dismissing the Praetorian cohorts who were acting as a bodyguard. And he then was seen to be acting sort of a little bit aloof, which is what this next story comes in. So he was in the Senate building and he was conducting the business of the Senate, etc. And the Senate then enters. I lost my train of thought for a second then. But he did not rise to his feet as they approached. So this was seen as a slight, as in he is better than them because he's not rising to meet them on equal terms. And this angered a huge amount of the Senate. And it's provided another ground of suspicion to those who are accusing him of wishing for the royal title because he's acting like a king. He then accepts other honours, so he gets a 10-year consulship, which is never going to be very popular. And he also basically appoints the next consuls. So he's going to have Antony. This is Mark Antony, who most of you probably have heard of. And it's his master of horse. This is like his lieutenant, his second in command. He then appointed a man called Marcus Lepidus to succeed Antony as the master of horse. This is a different Lepidus from the Lepiduses we've met previously, but they are of the same family, like I said in lesson. Okay. He also recorded some exiles, which is obviously very nice, but would have annoyed people. And all these kind of, some of his behaviours, the people, so like the Senate and the people, hoped he would give them back democracy. However, they were disappointed in this because obviously he's appointing consuls, he is creating sort of successors, he's going to leave Rome for at least 5 years to go conquer places. He's not rising to meet the Senate equally. Basically, he has too many honours, too many powers, too many titles. He's appearing to act in a quite arrogant way, not treating people equally, and these were the trigger points that led to his assassination.